So apparently all it takes for Orange County to get a win is for us to take a week off, and then Orange County gets the victory, picks up a full 3 points, and we're all excited, at least for the time being. Hopefully we can keep this up. We'll see if that'll happen. We will talk about the victory. We'll also talk about the upcoming schedule for Orange County. Let's get this thing going. Welcome to the Podcast of Champions. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
One large exhale. Trouble. Arozarena beat. Orange County opens the scoring. It's Thomas. Kuninga scores! The old guard with a new trophy.
This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. Follow us on Twitter at OCSC_SoccerCast or on Facebook at Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora, and I am here to take you through this beautiful journey as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club. Let's run through the panel here really quick to introduce everyone. First, let's head down South I-5 or south down the 5 to San Diego and talk to Mr. Alan A. Underwood 48. How are we doing, Alan?
Good. You're going to have to leave the 5 to take the 805 to get to where I live. But no, things are going all right. I was almost late on purpose so Brad could get introduced first. And then I was like, oh, I should probably not do that because Andy's not here.
Brad is still waiting for the day that he gets to be introduced first, correct? Although when we did the Western Conference preview, I believe last season, he was the host. So he was technically first on the show for that episode. Let's do this. Let's head on up to Reno and let's bring Brad on here. Brad, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing well, and I'm going to use a background because I am no longer in the scarf dungeon. I don't know what to call it. My old room. I moved out of the house over the weekend, so yay.
So we should change the title of this episode to like lack of scarves because both you and Alan are not showing scarves for this episode. Maybe our last host or guest or whatever, I guess host, because now she's seems to be a regular in here. Maybe she has a scarf she can share with us. Maybe not. Maybe she just wants to eat food, and that's Taylor. Taylor, how we doing?
I am good, thank you. I don't have any scarves, but maybe I can get one up for next week, but not right now. But next week, for sure, we'll get some.
Oh, well, I got some scarves in the background, so I guess we do have some scarves going on here, right? There's a bunch of scarves from Caroline Coalition. There goes Alan pulling out some random scarf that we can see partway through. And apparently Brad's the odd person out because he's the only one not wearing a hat tonight. But let's do this. Let's get into talking about Orange County Soccer Club. Brad's going to go grab a hat now. I made him feel bad. Let's talk about what's been going on. Obviously, it's been tough for us talking about this team over the last month or so. Ever since the big win against Tulsa, it's been pretty bleak as far as what we've seen as fans of the team, followers of the team, and sort of media of the team. We weren't here last week, so we didn't get to discuss. So we're just going to briefly look back on that match that saw Orange County lose in Lou City to that team out there. Anyone have any thoughts on that match? If you can even remember back there, if you haven't forgotten or pushed it out of your mind. And I'm just going to, I don't normally do this, but whoever wants to speak first, go.
What match?
It's not, you can't give a yellow card when play is already stopped for denying of a goal scoring opportunity when the goal goes in. I think that was the biggest controversy from that match. Lou City is a tough place to go play on the best of days. Or on the worst of days, which this kind of was. I don't think Lou City played terribly well, but this is what Lou City does, is they find ways to win even when they're not playing their best. And Orange County definitely had some looks, which were, it showed some positive signs of life. But, Lou City is going to Lou City, and they're going to, especially at home, they're a tough team to play. I think second best in the East as far as home records concerned. Their points per game are are pretty darn good for in the Eastern Conference. So like Orange County would have probably had to play like the best game they played all season to escape with the draw. So this really isn't a huge loss in the grand scheme of things. It really doesn't have any tiebreaker implications. You would have liked to have done a little bit better, but like I said, you had some really nice moments as we're seeing in some of the highlights, and then you just concede a couple penalties, and that was the huge difference.
So this is another one of those matches that we got to see against Lou City where we're seeing a former player, and it's a former player that stepped up pretty big, and that's Danny Fondez. Brad, what were your thoughts on that match against Lou City, and are we disappointed that the result was what it was?
It's more mistakes. Longmire had himself a very, very poor debut. And I mean, you look like you're playing a good game against a really good team up until it stopped going well in the second half. I don't know how else to say it. Orange County kind of dropped the ball late on in this game, and after the first penalty was conceded, I turned off the game only to get another notification that we conceded another one, and I never went back and watched it. So, yeah, not a good ending of a game.
I'm going to go to you, Taylor, because you're the expert defensive player here when it comes to this. And Brad brought up Longmire and his sort of probably wants to forget this debut. Give us your thoughts on how this goes. A new defender coming in on loan for Orange County, and to make a couple of really poor mistakes that I believe both of his key mistakes led to the penalties for Lou City. What goes on in a player's mind when that's happening, and what is it like making that debut in the middle of a season like that, if you ever had that opportunity?
I mean, it's just going to be a lot of uncertainty in where people are going to be, how people react. Like, you don't know who's covering who normally, or he wouldn't know, if he made a mistake there, who would be there, who wouldn't be there, I guess, compared to being in a team that you've dealt with a lot. You don't have anybody that knows your habits, and you don't know anybody else's habits. So it's probably like really hard adjustment this far into the season, but I don't know. I think our main thing defensively right now is we need to just stop giving penalties. Like, it's every game at this point, and to have 2 back-to-back like that is ridiculous. I mean, a lot of them aren't, like, to me, aren't true penalties. Like, there's some in there that are like, that should never have been called for a penalty, but we need to be a little bit more conscious of that and try and avoid those happening.
Yeah, the interesting thing with that first penalty, the lead up to that was Longmire making that cross from the right side, trying, I think, to get to whoever the left center back is there. And I was watching that play live, and I think if you ask my family as I'm watching that, like right when that kick is made, I'm screaming, "What are you doing?" Because I mean, I could see exactly where that ball was going to end up, and you knew at that moment there was going to be trouble for the defense, and it definitely was. And then, of course, that second penalty where he slid in the box. That's one of those things where you don't know as a defender.
Don't
you okay there, Alan? You okay?
Yeah, I was just coughing, and also like you just don't go for a slide tackle in that situation.
Yeah, when you're in the box, you have to be very knowledgeable of your positioning and what you're doing, because although in the USL you don't see it as much. You do have players that'll even sort of simulate the contact just to draw those fouls. So in the end, Orange County goes to Lou City. It probably is one of those matches that we're penciling in at the beginning of the season, saying if you can get a result, that is just gravy on the season, but more than likely it's going to be no result against Lou City, one of the better teams in the East, and also traveling makes it difficult. So the troubles continued. We skipped an episode, and it changed the whole atmosphere, although it was against Loudoun United. Probably not the best team to be excited about, but I think at this point, any win is a win. Is exciting for Orange County. So let's talk about that match. The shock and the surprise heading into kickoff there was the change between the posts Patrick Rakowski sits this match, and we have was it Colin Shutter? I forget how to say his name. He hasn't played, so I can't quite remember. And unfortunately, I'm busy and I don't have his information up here. But what's going on? Taylor, were you at that match by any chance?
We weren't there, but we did watch it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I was going to ask. I know you said you had missed a match, and for whatever reason, I thought the other match. I don't know why. So I want to know what's going on in the fans' mind when you see that change in the starting lineup. So I'm going to go to you first, Taylor. When you find out that it wasn't Patrick Rakowski starting, it's the basically backup keeper starting. Is that a little nerve wracking for the fans? And are we already sort of looking at penciling in as though this may not be the result we wanted?
So I hadn't looked at the lineup prior to the game, and we turned it on like as it was kickoff. So I found out that Shuttler was in goal by letting in the goal in the first minute, second minute, and then we were like, oh, this is how that's gonna go. And then he completely turned that around and had, for me, he had a great game. But yeah, it was definitely kind of a big shock. I mean, teams don't tend to switch up really, no matter how bad you're doing in a season. Teams don't typically switch up who their starting goalie is, like outside of an injury. So it was kind of interesting to see. And I mean, we've been saying the last couple of weeks, is it time for a change? And I think quite a few of us, including myself, kind of were like, I don't think Rakowski's the issue that needs change, and he may still not be. But I think it was a good switch up this weekend for sure, having Shuttler in there.
And it could very well be just you're getting Rakowski a sort of night off or day off. I mean, it was a 5:00 kickoff because there is a midweek match coming up against San Diego. So that could very well what's going on. I don't know, or I haven't heard of any concerns with injuries or anything like that. Unless if anyone has heard that, let me know. I'm going to go to you, Alan. How nervous, frustrated, concerned are we when Loudoun scores in the first minute or two of this match in what looks like another defensive mistake, basically? Are we worried about that? And are we looking at it already like, okay, how many goals are we going to give up, and what's the amount we're going to lose by at that point? Or do you have faith in this team even at that point?
There's a little bit of like, here we go again. I mean, Loudoun played really well early on against Phoenix when they beat them in Loudoun. These two teams are unpredictable at times, right? Like Loudoun had a pretty decent run at the beginning of the season. But they're clearly not quite to the same standard as a typical USL team. But anytime you give up a goal that early, you have to worry. It wasn't like a huge worry. It's just like you have to turn this around quickly. And luckily, I mean, good for Orange County that they were able to bounce back. But then if you look at the highlight right now, it's like you give up another penalty, probably questionable penalty here, but again, like you get behind the player. This is what we talked about. I talked about some of the San Diego folks with is anytime you're coming in from behind and you make contact, the ref's probably going to blow a pen. Like it's just there's never going to be a clean tackle coming from behind, even if you get the ball, they're going to be like, oh, we went to the player, it's a penalty. I think it's a little unfortunate. I mean, fortunately it was a save, but this game could have very easily been 2-1 Loudoun, and then you're talking about trying to come back again. But Orange County really battled and never gave up on the game, which is great. It's a good sign to them. But right when I saw that go in, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me already. But they responded pretty well.
Let me go to you, Brad. In that moment there where we saw earlier with the penalty awarded to Loudoun, is there any argument that could be made from a Loudoun fan that that could be considered a denial of goal scoring opportunity and a potential straight red? And did Orange County get lucky there? I know we got a red later for Peterson, but did Orange County luck out there and not getting a red there, at that point?
If I'm Loudoun, I'm more upset that my player went down instead of getting a shot on an open goal. That was probably the best chance that someone was ever going to get for a goal. As for denial of a goal scoring opportunity, it looks like he wasn't even trying to shoot. He looks like he's trying to draw contact. Some referees might say that that's red card worthy. For me, it's probably still just a yellow because he's not moving the ball towards goal. Although it still could be, it's definitely a judgment call. So sure, Loudon fans, if there are any, could feel a little scathed on that, but he should have scored. He had every opportunity to. He had the goalie beat. All he had to do was just kick the ball, and he played for a penalty. So greedy and didn't pay off.
Let me go to you, Taylor, because we've sort of debated here on denial of goal scoring opportunities in the past. I don't know if you consider yourself knowledgeable in how that rule works or what's a card and what's not. Based on what we saw in that play, obviously, if Colin Shuttler, you see him reach out for the leg and he misses. If he grabs that leg, that's probably a straight red card for the keeper, which would really suck. So he got lucky in that situation. But in what you saw there with Orozco sort of bumping from behind, in your mind, would that be a denial of goal scoring opportunity, or is the call sort of correct there and just give a yellow?
I think the call was correct. I mean, I don't think it was like a bad tackle. There was no, like it was said already, like he wasn't shooting. Like, had his leg gone out to even tap it in, then maybe you could have argued a little bit more, but it just wasn't there. I mean, the only person that denied that goal was himself by not like shooting. Like he wasn't even trying.
I think we've seen a few of these be red cards, because if you push or pull, it's a straight red. But because Michael Orozco is attempting to play the ball, or at least have the opportunity to play the ball, I think this is clearly a yellow card. Orozco is not grabbing, pushing, or pulling, which tends to be the red card, which we've seen against Phoenix. We saw it early in the season against Lou City in San Diego. I think if Orozco grabs him, that's a red. I think if Orozco pushes him, that's a red. But I think Orozco is smart enough to know that those things are red cards, and that if his feet get tangled, he's only going to get a yellow, even if it is considered a dogso, because he is attempting or has the opportunity to play the ball. Because every other factor, because I think there's 4 factors, every other factor is met. He's moving toward the goal, not moving away from the goal. He is in a position to score. So this would have been the harshest red I think I've seen all season. If Orozco gets a red, regardless if you think he's trying to play the ball, he has the ability to, and it's with the feet. So I think this is clearly the right call. And I think Orozco is smart enough to know those rules, to, if he's trying to take the guy down and force a penalty versus an open goal. Because as a defender, right, you're taking the chances. An open goal versus a penalty kick with a young kid on Loudon, like, I might take that chance of saying, all right, put it on the spot and beat us, versus if I let him go, it's an open goal, and that's for sure a goal.
Perfect.
Yeah,
and let's go, Brad.
Oh, it was a great restraint from the referee not pulling a red card there, because I probably would have, just, being as unknowledgeable as a ref as I am. However, I know it's like I'm wearing a ref jersey. However, with that said, definitely some more questionable calls later on.
Obviously, one of the situations there is Danny Peterson picking up 2 yellows and getting the red, so he got sent off. Maybe questionable on one of those yellows, I believe, did it merit a yellow? I can't quite remember off the top of my head. I mean, but it's USL, and we're used to this, right? We're used to questionable calls. We're used to poor decisions from the ref, or the ref falling for tricks or whatever it would be. So that's sort of a repeated theme. So there's really no need to get frustrated about that. Let's talk really quick before we move on about Milan Iloski and his amazing goal. He scored 2 goals in this match, but that one that is up for goal of the week, or was up for goal of the week, I don't know when the voting stops for that. What a goal. What a goal, right? Taylor, obviously it sucks that we missed that live in person, because that would have been awesome. It was on the side where County Line Coalition sits. I'm sure they enjoyed seeing that go in. But so what were your thoughts on Milan Iloski? And has he already locked down like player of the year for the team? I mean, should we just give him the Orange and Black Soccer Cast award for player of the year at this point, or fan favorite, or whatever else we can give him?
I mean, in this house, he definitely is fan favorite. He's definitely, player of the year already for us here. We'll see how the rest of the season goes, but he has that pretty locked down. That the goal was like an absolute banger. I wasn't expecting it. I don't think the team were expecting it. The fans weren't. Like, you saw how quickly everybody went from sitting to standing up. Like it was just perfect in like kind of all regards, and everybody was kind of taken aback by it. So I think it was a really good goal. A good way to solidify that win too.
Yeah, and I'd love to say it's like a lock for goal of the year, but we got to remember that Kobe Henry goal from earlier in the season is probably up there with this as far as just difficulty, out of nowhere type goal. So I could expect that to potentially be a candidate for that. Alan, what do you think, Milan Olaski? Can it get any better at this point with what he's doing for this club, the way the club's playing, and he's playing at a level up here, and the rest of the club seems to be trying to keep up with him, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the beginning of the other question is, could you replace Ronaldo Damas? And I think Milan Olaski is doing his absolute best to fill that role as much as possible. Several people asked, like, who should San Diego be looking out for tomorrow night? And the first player out of everyone's mouth is Milan Olaski. He has the ability to turn a game. He has the ability to score some pretty amazing goals, like we saw, but also he's a technical enough player to really take on 2 or 3 defenders and really create his own shot. So it's not a shock that he has 9 goals on the season the way he's been playing recently. And I mean, he's a guy that if Orange County can figure out their midfield issues and solidify the defense, like Milan Olaski is the guy who's getting you game-winning goals every week. Or at least is involved in some of those game-winning goals every week. Yeah, he's not going to score every game, but his play, his ability to create space, his ability to shoot. 9 goals in 15 starts, 16 games. That's pretty darn good. He's had maybe like 1 stinker out of the past 6 or 7 games. So he is a standout player, and for sure that teams are trying to key on, but he's good enough to, even if you're keying on him, to get some goals when you're looking out for him.
Brad, your thoughts on Milan Olaski and that amazing goal?
Yeah, I mean, the goal was definitely it could and should win goal of the week, although with how voting can be a popularity contest, I'm sure Leo Fernandez out of Tampa might win it. But no, the best or the person who has benefited the most from Milan's resurgence this year or emergence this year is Kubo. Kubo himself, I think, has 8 goals on the season too, and a lot of them are coming from teams are putting men on Milan, and Kubo is your striker who's going to find the garbage goals, and he has a bunch of headers on the season, and definitely made a lot of plays off of it. But Milan is for sure one of those players that we're going to have this season. He's going to play out the rest of the season, and then teams are going to be looking to buy him, without a doubt in my mind. He's definitely shown that he can thrive on this level. He shows that he can create. His goal was absolutely phenomenal, and he definitely has been given the liberty to take whatever shots he wants. So
let's just say hopefully obviously he wanted to come here probably to play with his brother Brian, and he hasn't really got that opportunity this season. So maybe he'll decide, let's do another year in Orange County so I can play with Brian, and we'll get to see that, and we get another year out of him. Or he gets sold right before the season starts to some team in one of the lower first divisions in Europe, a la Ronaldo Damas. I don't know if he'd actually go that route, but let's just do this really quick. With the matches that have been completed, let's look at our Playing for Pride contest here. And it looks like, Alan, you have taken the lead in the contest here.
Thank you, Milan Olaski. That's all. Like, that's pretty much all Milan Olaski, to be frank. I think.
What a pick! Didn't I have Milan on my team? I think everyone picked Milan basically, but he's been doing really well. So Alan is now in first. He overtook Dylan. Hopefully these are correct. Brad submitted these to Andy. Andy got them created. Oh, you didn't.
These were from Andy.
Andy just pulled them up.
So they're probably right.
I thought you gave him the numbers. I thought you were giving him
No,
the numbers,
no, I
but-
gave him our score prediction numbers.
prediction. Okay. So this is what it looks like going here. So I probably won't catch up to you, Alan, with one match remaining, but Dylan still has a chance. I don't know what the rosters look like. And whoever had Shuttler on their team for what, $1 had
Yeah.
a nice bonus of points this past weekend. So that was pretty cool. Let's look ahead now. We got 2 matches coming up. We have one actually tomorrow as we're speaking here. So on Wednesday, I believe, against San Diego, Allen's home team. This should be interesting. It's at Torero Stadium, I believe, and it's a little scary, but this is, hey, at least Orange County is on a roll. They got a win. I consider that a roll at this point with the way the season's going. Anytime you can get a nice, easy victory is awesome. In honor of Orange County playing San Diego, I bought a beer the other day. It's called a Fistful of Gummies. It is from Second Chance Beer Company, which is pretty cool. I didn't even realize this when I bought it, but I read the can. Second Chance Beer proudly supports local dog rescues, which is pretty cool. So not only am I getting a cool, interesting flavored sour, I'm helping support doggies. So that's always fun.
Yep. I think they have a beer that's like specific, like they give more money from that beer to those issues. They're also a supporter of one of the local supporter groups. You can go and if you're a member of the locals, you can go and get like $1 off a beer. So
basically, if I want some of their beer, Alan, I just reach out to you. You go grab it for me, and I get a discount.
I don't think it's on cans, but if you want to meet up and on a weekend where no one's playing, and we'll meet up at Second Chance Brewing, and anyone can come.
So next
down.
time I'm down in San Diego, I'll reach out to you. We'll have to go down and you can save me $1 off beer.
You mean you're not coming down tomorrow?
I wish I could.
I heard they're bringing a bus.
Here's the thing. If you didn't know, I work at UC Irvine, and I'm a financial analyst, and we run off a fiscal calendar. So right now is like the worst part of the year for people in my mind. It's trying to get everything approved so that if someone like Taylor decides, hey, can I get the records from all your finances for fiscal year 22, I have to make sure it looks good. So when Taylor goes to read it, it doesn't look like anything is shady on there. But please don't do that, Taylor.
Yeah.
Of course not.
I mean, Mikey, a bus with 12 people is still 12 more people than would have come if the bus wasn't there. And I know a lot of people in San Diego are excited when away fans come and support their club. It's always nice to see away fans in the stadium. I personally think that Orange County and San Diego have 2 of the best facilities in San Diego to watch a soccer match. Championship Soccer Stadium is phenomenal. If you've not yet been to Torero Stadium, I encourage you to. It is a little bit cavernous. The pitch is like lowered and you're like over the pitch. It's great. But it should be a pretty interesting matchup. Richard Chaplow has never lost to San Diego. So he puts that streak on the line. He is 2-0. I believe he took over right before the San Diego match and they won. And then there was that 1-0, basically solidifying Orange County's home playoff and sending San Diego on the road last year with a pretty hard fought and pretty engaging 1-0 victory for Orange County last year. So I think San Diego folks are looking forward to this. I hope Orange County fans are as well. San Diego is a little bit different team than they were last year. So, yeah.
But hopefully they continue to lose to Orange County with Richard Chaplow managing or coaching on the sidelines. Let's do, and maybe one day we'll figure out a way to get a party bus down to San Diego for a match. So we'll actually get like a party bus with, full on, with poles and strobe lights and maybe even a karaoke machine or something going on in that, and just have a fun old ride down to San Diego. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe that'll convince Brad to move on down here. Let me ask you, Alan, what should Orange County be scared of when it comes to San Diego? What's working for San Diego this year?
San Diego is their press has been really good recently. Really high press, putting pressure on back lines, getting really high turnovers. And once they turn over, they attack really vertically and really quickly. Usually through Alejandro Guido, he's kind of resurged this year. And then unlike last year where it was kind of like maybe like a striker, maybe a secondary striker, Kyle Vassell is like the real deal. in the number 9. But then you also have multiple guys on the wings who you have to target as well. Nick Moon is having a phenomenal season as well. I think, yeah, whenever the announcers say Landon Donovan, same thing. Like, I wish they'd focus more on the play on the pitch because San Diego's playing pretty well. San Diego does have a tendency to push real high and fight and counter press, which sometimes leaves a little bit of openness for guys like Milan Olaski to have some love if they can find some space with pace. So that, I think Orange County can get something out of this if their counterattack is good. But San Diego really likes to press high. They turn over, they attack, and the way they've been playing right now, it's kind of pick your poison. Tumi Moshabani, who was the lead scorer last year, has only scored 3, but is, I think, in second place for assists this season, so he's dropped back. Like I said, Alejandro Guido's having a resurgence kind of as a number 10-ish. But if you mark Kyle Vassell, that leaves kind of your wingers open. If you play out wide like Indy 11 tried to do against him last weekend and opens the middle, and if San Diego is ruthless in front of goal, there are very few teams that can stop them. But they do have a tendency to be a little bit weak on the back line.
Let's go to Taylor. Let me first ask you, are you making the trip down to San Diego or St. Diego tomorrow?
No, we are not, but we will be watching from home for sure.
Awesome.
Especially all the excitement coming off of the win.
So then are you going to partake in some sort of fun game like El Patron de Grayson does, where anytime we hear the word Landon Donovan, we take a drink of something?
I have work Thursday morning, so maybe not. Maybe it'll just be a high five to each other every time. I don't know. So, but we definitely can't do shots or a drink.
So what do you want to see out of Orange County heading down to San Diego to keep up the momentum from the win this past weekend?
I think just need to do what they were doing a tiny bit better from last weekend. Just kind of build from that. I mean, I think that's probably good footage to be watching and to be like, you, instead of being like, don't do this at all, you need to be doing this. It's kind of like, do this, but a little tighter. Do this, but a little quicker. So I think if we just kind of see them try and mirror last weekend's game, then I think they'll be on a better path this time.
And let me go to you, Brad. Can Orange County look at anything from the tapes from last year's matches, or is this Orange County team and San Diego team just so much different that you really can't use any of that from last year into this upcoming match?
I mean, Alan's more of the expert here, but correct me if I'm wrong. San Diego returns most of their roster from last year, right? So, I mean, you can probably learn something from tapes last year, but I don't know if we have the manpower to kind of replicate what was successful. Maybe we do. I don't know how successful we'll be, but me. Also,
you don't
Taylor,
sound confident, Brad. You don't sound confident.
My back's killing me. But Taylor, if you're gonna play a high five game instead of a drinking game, you're still not gonna go to work tomorrow because at the rate they talk about Landon Donovan, your hand's gonna be sore and falling off.
This is true.
But maybe Taylor doesn't need her hand for whatever job she does on Thursday. But what are we thoughts? I believe I know Alan's going to pick San Diego as the winner on this. Even before we go to predictions, Taylor, how confident are you that Orange County can get a full result of 3 points against San Diego? Not just a 1 point result, but a full 3 points.
I'm going to be like an optimistic 65% that we will get 3 points.
That's a pretty high percentage on the road. A team that's ahead of you that you're looking up on the table. Brad,
I feel like 1/3 of the time we're gonna lose, 1/3 of the time we're gonna win, and 1/3 of the time we're gonna draw. And I'm in a gambling state, so
yeah, that's not very creative there, Brad.
Roulette wheel. Let's go.
Can I say this, Brad? If you're going to partake in El Patron de Grayson's game, you got to do shots of Malort.
I mean, I know you guys can't see it with the green screen. I don't have much left. Also, I made a I made a deal with him. If you read our article that we posted today, or really Grayson posted today, I'm gonna give up the Malort for a month if we can get 4 points this weekend or more.
All right. Well, let's see if that can. I really hope that happens because that means good things. That means Alan's crying there just outside of Petco Park or something. I don't know. I know Torero Stadium and Petco Park are nowhere near each other, but I always just picture Alan hanging out with the people outside of Petco Park, hanging out in a tent, crying when his San Diego team loses. Let's do this. There's not just that game. We also have the dreaded Butterfly fans coming in to town. I believe coming into town, right? Or are we on the road against them? I can't remember.
On the road.
On the road. So we're visiting the Butterflies. For those of you who don't know, the Butterflies are a reference to Phoenix Rising, who quite surprisingly, I guess not surprisingly, but they're struggling too. They're not having the greatest of season, and their fan base is sort of turning on them a little bit, I think, from what we're seeing. Is that correct? Brad, I think you've mentioned it in chats, and I think Alan's talked about it here and there. Taylor, what do you know about Phoenix Rising?
I know that we beat them last year. Not much. I think it'll be an interesting game because neither of our teams are how they were the last time we played. Like Phoenix isn't playing up to their standards. We have a pretty new team. Lots of different rosters on there. We haven't really been playing up to our standard either of what we're capable of. So I think it'll be kind of interesting. And I hope that it's both teams are a little elevated in their game performance, but we'll see. And I think it'll be interesting to see which goalkeeper we have in tune-up for San Diego first, and then also going building from that too for the Phoenix game as well. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting because I don't know, maybe, coming off a player of the week nod there from Shuttler. Do you bench him now against either San Diego or Phoenix, or do you go with the rotation plan? That'll be interesting to see. Alan, have you seen Phoenix this year? And if so, what are you thinking with this match against Orange County?
Yeah, Phoenix is in a weird spot right now. I think there's accusations of lost locker rooms, but I think if you watch some of their most recent games, like the Vegas Phoenix game was not nearly as of a beating as you would expect. They still scored 2 goals. They scored 3 against Loudoun. They're just kind of in a poor run of form, and this happens, right? You kind of spiral out, and you don't get wins that you maybe should have. You don't get draws that you might have should have. But I think historically, Orange County's not done terribly well going to Phoenix because it's like hot and miserable, and it sucks. But this is the one opportunity to really solidify that Phoenix Rising is in a tailspin if you can get something out of them in Phoenix, which historically has been a terribly tough place to get wins. But as of late, they lost to Locomotive, they lost to Birmingham, they lost to Tampa Bay. So they haven't won at home in a while. So the fans are calling for Rick Schantz to be fired. There is some controversy over a lack of a statement over a Supreme Court decision that came down. So the fans are definitely demanding a lot of this team, and there's a lot of pressure there. But on the flip side, you also still have Aiden Quinn, who is almost single-handedly trying to save their season at this point. He's scored 4 goals in the last 3 goals in the last 2 games.
You got to get the name right, Alan. You got to get the name right.
Adorn. And then I can't pick against him because then he'll come on the show and sneak a question.
Call you out.
Yeah. But I mean, they still have the players. They still have the talent. They're still Phoenix Rising. But this is the chance for Orange County to really kind of put a nail in the coffin as far as Phoenix Rising is concerned. So I think if they do end up losing to Orange County, things may start to move because it's one of those, like, you're in a bad run of form, you're not too far off the pace, but to lose to someone like Orange County, who you have a rivalry with, who you go back, that I think it means a little bit more to lose to an Orange County team than it does to lose to a Vegas team who, if for some reason Vegas is playing really well as of late.
Yeah, be interesting to see what happens. If everything goes great for Orange County this weekend, by the end of the match against Phoenix, Orange County can leapfrog Phoenix in the standings and no longer be second from the bottom. They'll actually be third from the bottom at that point. But that would take, good results against both Phoenix and San Diego. I don't know what the point differential is between the two teams, but I believe Orange County has the better goal differential. So if you get a draw against San Diego and a win against Phoenix, we would jump ahead of Phoenix in the standings, which would be pretty cool. Although Phoenix would have a game in hand, so that's always different there. Brad, what does Orange County need to do? And I don't want to hear the typical answer that comes out your way of score goals and don't give up goals. But what does Orange County have to do to get a full 3 points against Phoenix in the desert?
Stop Aiden Quinn. I figure that's just as easy an answer. No, Orange County is never gonna have a clean sheet, is what we've kind of determined. Our one clean sheet came against Atlanta too, which is not very good in of itself. But if you can make sure Aiden Quinn doesn't score, and you can put more balls into the back of the net than the other team can. Just better defense needs to stick up and play a full 90 minutes. It's going to be a very hot game down there. I think it's 96 at kickoff. And if the team is conditioned well enough, hopefully they can play a good full game.
And I know Orange County fans tend to not like Solomon Asante over the past few seasons because he's been really that gnat that just bugs you all the time. But it seems like Phoenix is missing Solomon Asante this season. I think maybe he was that glue for Phoenix that like kept things going and kept the team going in the right direction instead of the locker room falling apart. Does that sound like something you would think of there, Alan? That it's really Solomon Asante gone, Phoenix struggles.
I mean, there's definitely something weird going on there. There's the chemistry is off, right? This is like, to make a basketball analogy for you, Ray, this is like the Lakers when they signed Malone and Peyton, right? You had these like superstars, but they just couldn't gel together to make a team. And Phoenix has been.
They did make it to the finals, though. They just couldn't win in the finals.
What I mean is, like, it had that vibe of it was a collection of players, not a team. And
so can we go more relevant, more current, and say LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook?
Sure.
Okay.
Same thing.
But it's Phoenix has been able to get away with it because they've been able to play really well together as an attacking unit. They've always been a little bit leaky at the back, right? But now that the front line is sputtering, the back line now is an issue. It's weird because it's not like there's not talent on that pitch. It's not like there's guys who can't play. But I mean, right now, I think with Phoenix, it's the same as it always is with Phoenix, right? If you can frustrate them early, maybe not even you don't even have to have a lead, just frustrate them early. You can get something out of it. The other thing that Phoenix likes to do is come back late. So if you can frustrate them early and then play the full 90, you have a really good chance of getting something out of Phoenix. Because I think if you frustrate them early, they're in a mental state right now where they're, oh no, they're here we go again. You know, the fans are already ready to turn on them. And even though they're at home, you got to push them and not concede early. And then make sure that you don't mentally check out toward the end of the game when it's going to be hot and you're going to be exhausted. So substitutes are going to be really key, who you bring on, who you have available. The turnaround is going to be tough, right? You play Wednesday and then Saturday, but Peterson serving the 1-game suspension, he'll be fresh in the midfield, and that might actually be beneficial for Orange County to have someone like that. And then depending on who you have available coming back from injury as well, those subs are going to be super important to see out the 90 minutes in a hot Phoenix night.
So basically what you're saying is let's get Rob Kiernan healthy somehow, some way, clone him, and then clone a bunch of Miko Kuningases and get under the skin of Phoenix, and then we're good to go there. That'd be awesome if we could do that, right? Wouldn't that be awesome if you could do that, like you know, video game style? Just make copies of like Miko Kuningas and just throw them all over the pitch, just getting under people's skin.
I was like, we can do an '80s retro night where we just weird science it.
I was gonna say that's why Ray is fantasy football manager and not real life football manager.
What do you mean?
Just don't
Football
ask for more
manager.
money.
Yeah, just don't ask Oliver for more money, well, no, you can ask and he'll tell you no. Just don't leak it to the press on your like second week on the job, because then he fires you, and then you have to go work for like LA Wolves or something like that. Taylor, last thoughts on this Phoenix match, and I'm going to ask you the same question I asked you last time. How confident you are that Orange County can get a full 3 points in the desert?
I'm gonna go with this like a 55-60% now. So it'll drop a little just purely because like there's rivalry there. I think they only have like 1 point over San Diego. I know they're like way higher up in the chart, but I think it's only like a 1 point difference or something like that. Or is it the other way around? Oh no, they're just above us, huh? Yeah, so
they're just above us. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll keep it. I'll give them a 60% chance that we'll get the 3 points. Then I'll put it there. I think if we can capitalize off of like Phoenix's defensive mistakes, and if we can just like make tactical fouls as opposed to just fouling, and try and maybe not give away penalties unless it's open goal like we were talking about, but not give away penalties. That is going to be a huge difference for us.
Let's not give away penalties. Let's try and not do that, and we actually can maybe have a good chance to get 6 points over the next couple of matches here, which would be pretty awesome. Let's do this really quick before we make our predictions. We got to do 2 match predictions for the match against San Diego and then against Phoenix. Here's the standings as of right now. I'm in last place for the podcast, at least. The 4 of us that started at the beginning of the season. Look at
I'm catching
now,
up.
I see Grayson on there, but I think that's actually El Patron de Grayson that 73 is for, running away with it. So congratulations there. I'm gonna have to figure out what the prize is, because at this point it looks like you might get a prize. El Patron de Grayson, Logan and Nathan are hanging in there too. So let's do this. Let's make predictions first for the San Diego match. Now Dylan isn't here, so I'm gonna ask you all this. Do we just let Taylor pick for Dylan, and hopefully Taylor picks outrageous predictions so Dylan does not get points and it gives all of us a chance to catch up? Or do we want to do it some other way? I'm going to ask Brad, because you're the closest one to Dylan. How do you want to do it, Brad?
I feel like just do the same thing this week where Taylor picks again.
All right. So Taylor is picking in place of Dylan. So let's do this. So first match is at San Diego. Just give the Orange County score first, followed by San Diego score, and we'll go from there. So since Dylan's in the lead, Taylor, I'll give you first pick. What's the score here against San Diego?
I'm going to say OCSC 3, San Diego 2.
Awesome. Brad, what's your prediction?
I'm going to go with the Dylan's 1-1.
Alan, what's your prediction?
3-1 San Diego.
Hey, Alan's going to love me on this because I'm going to predict his team to win. It's going to be 5-0 San Diego in this match. 5-0 San Diego.
I mean, it happened on Saturday.
Dylan's not here to get mad at me for making that prediction, which is pretty cool too. And then let's move on to the Phoenix match. We will go in that same order. Taylor, what is your prediction against Phoenix?
I think it'll be a 1-1 there.
1-1 against Phoenix. And then Brad?
I'm going to have some hope that I'm going to give up my Malort. I'm going to say it's a crazy 3-2 game.
3-2 for Orange County. Nice. Alan?
I'm going to go 2-2. I was going to go 1-1, and then Taylor went 1-1, so I'm going to go 2-2.
2-2. I'm going to go 5-0 Butterflies. And I'm going to ask this. I'm going to call out all Orange County fans. Anyone that listens to the podcast, tweet it out. Ask your friends to do this. Let's all just tag Phoenix Rising fans, supporters groups, and just send out GIFs or pictures or videos of butterflies, and just let's get them riled up for the match this weekend, and get them all upset on this. Because I just feel like being that person, that annoying podcast host that's just trying to get under the skin of those fans. Can we do it? Can all of you, let me ask Alan, Brad, Taylor, will you all do it? Will you tag some Phoenix supported groups, fans, team, and send out pictures and videos of butterflies?
Yeah, we can do that.
There we go. Taylor doesn't even know why I'm asking her to do that, but she's like, I'll do it. Whatever you say. What'd you say, Brad?
I'm not a banter person. I usually like to not cause drama.
So Taylor, just so you know what you're getting into if you do this, is I got some slack from some Phoenix fans. We had a host from one of the Phoenix shows on, and we were talking about stuff, and I made a comment similar to the difference between where we live and Phoenix is we have so many more things to do here. And I had recently visited Phoenix, and I said all there was out there was a butterfly garden. And apparently the Phoenix fans did not like that comment when I said that. They got really upset about it. So it's been my thing now whenever I'm talking about Phoenix is to throw out a picture, video, or a GIF of butterflies just to remind them of the time that they didn't like me. So
Perfect.
If that changes your mind, if you don't want to do it, you don't want to start trouble with Phoenix fans. No one's given me like they haven't come and threatened me with violence. They just sort of called me stupid names and said that I was an idiot for thinking that Phoenix only has butterfly gardens. So hi Phoenix, if you're let's do this. We got to wrap things up. It's getting a little late. So any soccer news from anyone want to share anything interesting from the soccer world?
I'm going to shout out John Morrissey at USL Tactics. He's been putting out tons of content, and him and some other folks have started Backheeled. And so it's free content, and it's pretty good. I think Joe Lowry from the Total Soccer Show is also contributing as well. So if you want to give him a follow, it's backheeled.com, and they put out like a weekly soccer newsletter that John Morrissey always includes some nuggets about USL.
And we sort of got to maybe apologize to John Morrissey, because I think before the season started, a lot of Orange County fans were giving him a hard time for being so negative on Orange County, but it seems like he knew what he was talking about, that Orange County may not be in that same level as they were last season. So apparently he's actually pretty good at what he does. Any other soccer stuff anyone wants to share before we move on to our random thoughts?
NC Courage's Carson Pickett got her first or is getting her first cap with the U.S. national team today.
Ooh. I know you're a huge NC Courage fan, supporter, Taylor. So awesome to hear.
Yep.
Brad, I got to ask you. Wait, really quick, Brad. Are your boys over the Everton? Are they going to send us like half the roster over to Tottenham?
Only if you send us half your roster. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too. Only if you guys send us half the roster back.
We already sent you Delhi.
We don't want Delhi.
Go ahead. What were you going to say, Brad?
I wanted to give a big shout out over to Larry for the articles he's been posting. If you haven't read them, they are very in depth and some good content that you get for free over on our Orange and Black Soccer Cast website. And we look forward to getting you more stuff like that on our web pages soon.
Yeah, definitely. And if anyone ever wants to, try their hands at writing something, contributing something to our website, you can write. You can, if you want to send us photos that you take from the matches. If you want to come on our podcast, just reach out to us and let us know, and we'll try and get you on here. We want this to be an inclusive fan thing here. And we appreciate what Larry did to contribute some written stuff to our website, because I know that's been lacking over the last 2 to 3 years. So thank you, Larry. And again, anyone wants to do that, let us know. Let's get to our random thoughts then. And I'm going to go to you first, Taylor. Taylor, what's your random thought for the night?
Yeah, not so random, I guess, with the times that we're in. But, this week, of course, last week now, but SCOTUS's opinion that was handed down, the impact that's having for, everyone, basically, female or male. And anything in between is just a very bad time for privacy rights, healthcare rights, anything like that. And then also the not so subtle implications by not just the concurrent opinion, but the majority opinion too. Basically, the other cases need to be reviewed, which is sad because one of which, today's Stonewall, as we can see, memory of that, and it's Pride Month, and now they're here same month letting us know that that's a case that needs to be reviewed and would more than likely, with the current demographic of the court, would be overturned as well. And we also found out from that 25 states of the 50 have trigger laws for same-sex marriage. So same-sex marriage would automatically and instantly be banned in 25 states in the US if Obergefell was to be overturned.
Oh, yes. I was reading the lead singer of Green Day is ready to renounce his U.S. citizenship over the decision, and I know there's a lot of people very frustrated over it, and it's definitely sad just what's going on, and hopefully. I don't know. I don't know what to say on it. It's difficult. So I appreciate you bringing up the words, Taylor. I know I talk a lot sometimes, and this just has me baffled. I've been trying to just sort of digest what's going on with this over the past few days. And, I've always talked about, I totally agree with, the separation of, what you think religiously versus what the law should be. And because we're a country that values religious freedom, not everyone's going to have the same religious values. And it sucks that you're going to pick and choose some of the laws based off of religious scriptures or religious values, which is frustrating. So hopefully there's some answer to this that is a better answer. I hate to say it, it may take some time, but hopefully there's a way to change this, the things that have been happening. All right, Alan, hopefully you weren't going to do some goofy random thought at this point, but go for it.
No, I was going to say at right around 4 a.m. on June 28th, police raided the Stonewall Inn, which is led to the Stonewall riots, which is considered to be one of the single most important thing kicking off the gay liberation movement in the United States. And so today, I don't do maths very well, but today was, or early this morning was, and June 28th was the day that it raided. They raided Stonewall Inn, and Pride now is this giant celebration, but originally it was a riot for basically police brutality against the LGBTQ plus community. And a lot of trans activists were on the front lines of that way back in the 1960s. So I just wanted to continue to shout that out. And Pride isn't just about a celebration. It's also about being public and being open with who people are. And so I just wanted to shout that out. I know, Taylor, you mentioned that as well, but I just wanted to highlight that today.
That's why we have a teacher on our panel here to teach us. Brad, random thought from you.
Yeah, I'm going to keep things fairly political still, although I'm not really going to try taking a political stance. But if you haven't watched the January 6th Inquisitions that have been going on, I usually listen on NPR because they don't really spend too much time talking about it afterwards. I don't need the whole political party breakdown, but definitely interesting stuff coming out of those. And I don't know what to say other than that. It's just interesting to take a look inside kind of Capitol Hill and the way they do things.
Yeah, and I'm going to go off politics, but I will say just make sure, if you have any issues going on or any concerns or any problems or any disagreements with any things that are happening, make sure you are letting your voice be heard and voting in the November elections. And anytime there's an election to help make change if you're not agreeing with what policies are being provided. The thing that sucks with the Supreme Court is, it's not something you can vote for. It's something that's a lifetime appointment or until someone retires or passes away. So that sort of sucks. But my random thought is this past Thursday, I took my son and 4 of his friends, well, my 2 sons and 4 friends to Knott's Berry Farm to celebrate my oldest son's birthday. We got there right when the park opened. We didn't think it would happen, but we made it till the park closed. Didn't get home till probably like 11:30 at night. Oh, and by the way, the next day I had volunteered for a potluck barbecue that I would make a pork butt, pulled pork. And that was like a 13.5 hour cook time. So I woke up like at 3 a.m. to get things prepped for that. So it'd be ready by like 5:30. So let me just say I was exhausted by the end of Friday evening, but it came out very awesome. It was delicious. It was worth the time we put on because we used the extras throughout the weekend, making a bunch of different dishes with that. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, I had to do something a little bit more lighthearted just to end things up here. But let's do this. Let's wrap this all up. I want to thank everyone that listens to the podcast. Thank you for listening. I also want to thank each and every one of you that are on the show tonight, Alan, Brad, Taylor, and those that aren't here that we're missing for whatever reason. Andy with some family stuff that he's attending, and then Dylan MIA. I don't know where he is. Haven't heard from him, but we like those guys too. Thank you so much for listening to everything. If you want to read what Larry wrote, go to our website, ocsepodcast.com. You can find it there. If you want to listen to some past episodes, you can listen to them there. I will say this. There's been a slack on getting the podcast episodes up on our website. So that'll be corrected sometime in the next few days here. So you'll be able to listen to actual podcast episodes and not just have to find us on video form. So for Alan, for Brad, for Taylor, for Andy and Dylan, and everyone else that participates or takes part in this is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. Thank you for listening. And I think we're out. We're out.